We don't ask for party tricks, but instead of moving it from side to side...
Poltergeist, cannibalism and tragedy await the team in County Monaghan.
This extraordinary building behind me is home to some incredible ghost stories. With an intriguing history and regular paranormal activity, we just had to come and investigate Castle Leslie in Ireland.
Situated near the village of Glasgow, just a few miles inside the Irish Republic's border, this is a castle steeped in tradition. It has been in the Leslie family hands for over 300 years, following its purchase by Bishop John Leslie from Sir Thomas Ridgway in 1665. Many ancestral landowners have followed, and several deceased members of this historic family are said to still roam here to this very day. The present building was constructed in 1878 and is now run as a hotel. Its grounds have played host to many extravagant weddings, including Sir Paul McCartney's in 2002.
Probably the most famous ghost here has to be the ghost of Norman Leslie. He was an officer in the Rifle Brigade, and he was killed in France at the beginning of the First World War. 2 days before his death, his mother woke in the middle of the night to see her son, Norman, standing at the foot of the bed. And he looked at her, smiled, and disappeared. The day he died in 1914, the gamekeeper was standing by the sundial at the lake, and he saw Norman in his full uniform for quite a few moments, and he wondered why he'd come back. And then, of course, he disappeared. Now, those are prime examples of what I call crisis apparitions, phantasms. They're actually still alive while the ghost's been seen. But Norman haunts the place still. He's been seen on many occasions. He's been seen by guests staying in the Red Room. There are lots of things attributed to Norman around here. I'm actually holding in my hand the sword that he was holding as he was killed in France. It was found many years later and dug up by a farmer and brought back here to the family home.
This room is supposedly one of the most paranormally active places in the whole of the castle. It used to be Norman Leslie's bedroom, and he's been seen here on a regular basis. Also, this bed levitates on its own, and the ghost of a white lady has been seen in here.
We have a bed in this house that came from Breed House in Sussex, and there's all sorts of stories about Sir Thomas Oxenbridge, who used to eat young children, and supposedly he thought that he would live forever if he fed on the flesh of young children. And the story is that the locals bopped him on the head or drugged him and cut him in half with a saw and threw the parts of his body into the lake at the bottom. And when the bed came here, we had a number of problems with it, or still have, and a number of people have felt either weight pressing down on top of them or felt the bed moving. So we don't put children in there unless we don't like them.
This is the Long Gallery, where restoration is currently in progress, and it's had its fair share of paranormal activity. A misty shape and a dark figure have startled both family and guests alike. The Mauve Room is said to be haunted by the ghost of Lady Constance, who lived here many years ago. She makes her presence known to unsuspecting guests by moving objects around and opening and closing the doors.
There's been the ghost of a lady seen on many occasions, and she's been recognised from a portrait in the dining room as Lady Constance, the lady who rebuilt the house in 1878. We believe she haunts it because she loved it so much. But she could also be what's known as the traditional Irish banshee, because she revisits the house whenever anyone's dying, and she appears in their room. It's as if she's come back to take them over to the other side.
If you spent the night here, I believe that you would experience something very unreal to you. And certainly if you go up the stairs very late and the lights are out, you walk across the London, you just watch for the lady that walks across there. That's one of the ladies of the castle. I myself would not go up after 12 at night.
My father used to explain it like watching television, that just because you're watching BBC or Channel 4, it doesn't mean that ITN doesn't exist, and that there are different levels and different layers, and you can be tuned into different things at different times. And I think here is maybe one of those places where the veil is just that little bit thinner.
We've got a building that is absolutely inundated with ghosts, spirits, and phantasms. So tonight, with a bit of luck, we should get some very interesting stuff.
Castle Leslie appears to be home to a wide variety of paranormal incidents, so we were keen to draw on the experience of our parapsychologist, Kieran O'Keefe.
Kieran, we've got some very unusual phenomena that's occurred here at Castle Leslie. For instance, phantoms of people that aren't dead, also a levitating bed. What do you make to all of it?
Well, I think it's great that there's so much different phenomena. Like you say, we've got phantasms of the living, otherwise known as crisis apparitions. We've also got ghosts that have passed away, like post-mortem apparitions, so two different types, and also levitation of a bed. The difficulty is with some of this is that we've got eyewitness accounts. So generally psychologists have to be aware of the fallibility of memory. However, a lot of these accounts are independent accounts and they corroborate each other. So it should be a great investigation.
What sort of things will you be looking out for during the night?
One of the main things I want to focus on is the levitation of the bed. It's quite easy to set up some sort of experiment to see if that will actually occur this evening using motion sensors and locked off cameras. In addition, when we're conducting the vigils, just be aware of the particular locations where apparitions have been seen.
Medium Derek Akora had been invited to join us in County Monaghan. But what more can we discover about a building that for centuries has housed one of Ireland's most notable families? We have just 24 hours to unearth the mysteries of Castle Leslie.
You drawn in a particular...
Well, just as coming up, it felt earlier as well, those last couple of stairs, I've become very, very aware at this moment of movement. Although it's residual energy at the moment, but the movement of a person, if not persons, spirit people. But there's one seems to be very prominent. It's a lady. I feel she maybe walks here. I don't know how regular, but she is here regularly. I can't say whether she's grounded or whether she's in visitation.
Okay.
But she's a good soul, and I feel her memory goes back quite a long time here.
Mm-hmm.
Without even entering any of the castle's many rooms, Derek had already become aware of the spiritual entities that exist in this ancient building. Who was this female presence, and what would we discover of her and others in the mauve room?
The only way I can put it, I feel as if a baby was born here, girl child, and her energy growing up, and she would come in here a lot. She would come in here because she's drawn to it, to the memory of her. And the mother love, whoever the mother love as well, she comes here, and it's like as if they must both be in the spirit, world of spirit, and they come back in visitation. And they are so attuned to this room. Yes. There's a lady who comes in here. Go on, Sam. She's a lovely soul. How do I pronounce it? Marjorie. Mm-hmm. Marjorie. She's a lovely soul.
Is she connected to the two ladies that you picked up?
Yes.
The mother and the daughter?
I feel so.
So it's one of those?
I feel so.
Okay.
A very genteel, very good soul. Lovely person. Not active in the building, in this beautiful building, but in visitation. Because I feel that she's gone truly into the the spiritual realm, but because of her love and her energies and her remembrance of the good, happy times.